there. My name is Orifunke Lawal, and you are welcome to the 21 Days of Branding course, day 4. In our last lesson, I taught you about brand thermometer, and you learned some of the things that characterize strong brands and weak brands and the factors that differentiate them. In today's lesson, I am going to be teaching you about brand stakeholder analysis. And you likely have never heard this anywhere before. And if you have, you're going to be seeing the people factor of your brand in a very different light. By now, I expect that you are going through a period of clarity. I expect that where you started with your branding exercise or your branding efforts while we started this course is not where you are. I expect that you are going through a form of mental evolution, albeit gradual, learning more about the different aspects of your brand. And the idea of that makes me so glad. Imagine how far we've come in day 4 and just think about how far we'll still go by the time we get to day 21. So make sure you stay along and you stay consistent. Now let's move on to brand stakeholder analysis, also called the people factor. Your brand is made up of different aspects, whether you have a business brand or a personal brand. So you have a corporate brand and then you have a business that has to do with people. You have a personal brand. It is based on who you are and what you do, and your personal brand is the major selling point of your brand, but you still have to deal with people. So whether you are going through or you have a brand, a business brand or a personal brand, you can always tell that you will have to do with people. It is important. You can't escape people because for a large part of your branding efforts, people are going to influence your actions, are going to decide if you stay in the game or if you move out of the game. And that's why this model is so important. You will need to understand the different sets of people who literally have a say directly or indirectly on your brand, whether it's your business brand or your personal brand. Now, let's talk about stakeholders. Stakeholders refer to the different sets of people who are relevant to you achieving your business or personal brand goals. So, in branding and especially corporate communications, this is a term that's often used. They tell you who are your major stakeholders because every brand has stakeholders. And look at the big brands, people you admire, they understand who their stakeholders are. And every activity that they embark on, every decision that they take, every action that they make always has to do with the stakeholders in mind. So, as somebody who is trying to build their brand, you must also think in terms of stakeholders. You must think like the big brands, and you must realize that you have stakeholders. There are people who currently hold stakes in your business. By stakes, it doesn't mean that they've invested money. Of course, those are part of your stakeholders, but there are people whose desires, whose decisions can literally make or mar your business. So, stakeholders are the different sets of people who are relevant to you achieving your business or personal brand goals. Every brand has stakeholders as long as they have specific goals. So, it doesn't matter what your goals are, as long as they exist, you have stakeholders and you must pay attention to those stakeholders. The stakeholders of your brand determine the branding and marketing activities you will choose to embark on. Remember earlier, I mentioned that every brand has activities, decisions that they need to take. You don't just take decisions without considering who your stakeholders are, who the people of your brand are. So your stakeholders determine the people who who will influence the branding and marketing activities that you will choose to embark on. Finally, stakeholders can be different for different brands. So, while you have general stakeholders for brands that want to make money, you have you have stakeholders for different brands. It means that the goals that you have for your brand, the industry that you are in, the mode of operation of your brand will also determine the different or the kinds of stakeholders that you have. Let me rephrase that. Stakeholders can be different for different brands. We have general stakeholders that are similar for similar brands, but stakeholders can also differ depending on the industry you are, your mode of operation, where you exist, and where you play. So, stakeholders, once again, can be different. The stakeholders for my brand may be different from the stakeholders from your brand. All the same, we could also have the same kinds of stakeholders. So now let's move on to what steps. Yes, let's move on to steps to defining or creating a brand stakeholder analysis. We can also call this the people factor analysis, but I choose to call it a brand stakeholder analysis. Now, number one, who are we and what are our goals? Number two, who are our existing stakeholders? Number three, who are our potential stakeholders or what stakeholders should we have? Number four, what are our brand values? Number five, what are our stakeholder parameters? And number six, what matters to our existing and potential stakeholders? I'm going to be addressing this. I'm going to be teaching on this in details so that you understand what each of them entails. Now, let's go. Right, so number one, who are we and what are our goals? As a brand, you must have specific brand goals that you want to achieve. Whether you want to gain 100 new customers in the next 1 month, you want 150 new sign-ups in the next 2 weeks, you want to develop new partnerships, you need to have goals for your personal brand or for your business brand. And the goals that you have will determine the direction that your brand strategy is going to take. You need to have goals. Without goals, you can't exactly start up to implement a brand strategy. In fact, you can't even have a brand strategy without your goals. So there has to be goals that you are looking forward to achieving. There's a reason you joined this academy. There's a reason you joined this course for your brand, your business, your personal brand. There are expectations that you have that you want to achieve, and that's why you decided, okay, you know what, I need to learn more about branding. There's something that you believe that you should be doing better. There's something that you believe your brand should be achieving, and that's why you join. So if you are a consultant, for instance, there's a reason you joined. You have specific goals. You may want to get more clients, let's say 50 new clients in the next 1 week. You may want to get bigger gigs, depending on the kind of business or personal brand that you have. So to decide, or the beginning of your stakeholder analysis is an understanding, a definition of who you are and what your goals are. You must understand who you are. Understanding who you are in terms of the products and services that you provide, right? So you might feel like, oh, I don't sell anything. I'm a personal brand, especially for personal brands. I don't sell anything. I just want to start posting online. I just want to put myself out there. But the truth is, you do not need to be selling something physical before you know you are selling something. You are selling your knowledge, you are selling your essence. Yes, you are selling your authority, you are selling your experience, you're selling your expertise. You are selling different things, even if you're not selling physical products like chairs, furniture, houses, whatever it is. that you believe business brands sell. So you are selling a product and you are selling a service, right? So even though you are a personal brand, I also want you to think about the business of personal branding, which will eventually come to over time. So understanding who you are in terms of the product and the services that you provide is significant in building your potential stakeholder persona. Your potential stakeholder persona means the kinds of people that you expect that you're going to be working with. I hope that's clear. So, number one, who are we and what are our goals? Right. Now, next here is who are our existing stakeholders. So, I mentioned earlier that stakeholders are the people who make it easier or possible for you to achieve your brand goals. There are people, you can't achieve your brand goals on your own. There are people who make it happen. So, who are your existing stakeholders? If your brand already exists, who are the people who currently make it happen? Popular stakeholders, when you're thinking about stakeholders, you can look at your target and your existing customers. These people are stakeholders because they bring in the money. If they don't bring in the money, you're going to be out of business, right? These are your clients. If they don't bring in the money, they are going to be out of you rather are going to be out of business. They might be your followers if you are heavy on social media or online following. They are stakeholders. They can be your subscribers. Let's say you have an app. These are popular, these are one of your major stakeholders. Because if they do not exist, or if they cease to exist, or if they leave you for somebody else, your business or your personal brand will likely go down the drain, right? So that is from almost everybody. Those are your major stakeholders. Well, unless you run a sort of NGO where you don't exactly sell a service per se. So number two, another set of stakeholders that we often have include your employees, people who are your staff, people who are your volunteers, right? So you might have employees or you might not have employees, you might have people who volunteer. Instead, these people are vital stakeholders because without them, you may not be able to serve the people who bring in the money for you. Do you understand that? Without them, you may not be able to even get new customers, get new clients. You may not be able to get the people who make your business or who bring in a cash flow, basically. So these are existing stakeholders that are important. So you have partners or collaborators or suppliers, depending on the kind of business or personal brand that you run. So you might have partners, you might have group partners, you might have personal partners. If, for instance, you have a course or you're a course creator, one major partner that you might have may be another course creator. Yes, you can partner with another course creator to deliver a course, right? So your instructors, I mentioned this in a previous lesson. So for the academy, for instance, our instructors are also partners. Our facilitators are also partners. These people collaborate with us to make sure that we achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Another partner that we also have for the academy, we use sites or platforms that enable us to position or to create a platform that can make it easier for us to deliver the courses that we deliver. So we have a number of platforms that we've tried out. We also have a number of platforms that we have tried out and have also stopped using because they just didn't fit into our essence. They just didn't fit into the goals that we wanted to achieve, whether short term or long term. So as a brand, there are people who are your partners. There are people who are your collaborators. If you run a product business where you deliver stuff to people, there are people who are your suppliers, right? So think about your existing stakeholders. The people think, and when you're thinking about this, I want you to think far and wide. Every person that you use, every person in that value chain of your business or personal brand is a stakeholder. Whether if you run a food business, the people who deliver your food, these SWAT riders, they are your stakeholders too. The people who you buy from, whether you buy raw food stuff from or you buy seasoning from, they are also stakeholders. Because if these people are not in that chain, if these people do not exist, your brand will not exist, or your brand will cease to exist. If you run a personal brand and you are a consultant, for instance, you want to look at, possibly you engage affiliate marketers to sell your brand. You engage contractors, for instance, to work on specific projects for you. All of these people are stakeholders in your business. If you have investors in your business, they are also stakeholders, because you need them to invest in your business, and you need to always give them regular reports about how your business is doing. Right? So your investors, I am not so sure about any organization that currently invests in personal brands per se, apart from scholarship purposes, right? But if you have investors, they are your stakeholders. In fact, they are heavy stakeholders. If you lent money, or if you borrowed money, rather, if you borrowed money for your business, to scale your business or to scale your branding efforts, these people are also stakeholders, because they want to know regularly how your business is doing before they give you their money, and they want to know how it keeps doing, so they know they can also collect their money. Another popular stakeholder that wasn't included here is also the government. And if you live in a place like Nigeria, this makes a lot of sense to you. You know that the government has a sort of upper hand when it comes to brands in the country. So the government is an existing stakeholder that you have to take note of, that you may not even be able to control, because they may make policies that favor or do not favor your business. So, next question that you want to ask, I hope this is clear, is who are our potential stakeholders, and what stakeholders should we have? So let's assume that you are just starting a brand, you've not had anything to do with branding so far, and you're just starting out. You don't have existing stakeholders. So you can always sit down and ask yourself, who are our potential stakeholders? What stakeholders should we have? What kind of stakeholders should exist for us? Who are the people that we need to be able to build our brand and achieve our business goals? For instance, there's somebody currently taking this course who is, who is in the brand of selling lactation products. She has a lactation products brand, and she's just starting out. So your question should be, who are our potential stakeholders? Your potential stakeholders are your customers, right? The people you want to buy from you, the people you want to buy from you, the people who are nursing mothers or who are mothers to be, right? Those are part of your stakeholders. Another part of your stakeholders are the manufacturers, the people who are manufacturing these products. Because if they manufacture bad products and you sell to your customers, and something happens to one of your customers, they're going to hold you responsible. Your brand will go down the drain. Who are the people who are to deliver to these people? These are your potential stakeholders. Who are the people you likely want to work with you, because you can't do all of the work yourself, but possibly people who will be your client relations or customer service, sales people who will help you get more customers. Think far and wide about the potential stakeholders that you should have. Next thing that we also want to look at, what are our brand values? What are my brand values? You should have values for your brand. If you have a business brand, you should have a list of values that you have created, that your brand is going to look by and live by, rather. So these are things that you want to look out for, and the things that you will never compromise on. Because the truth is, there are different vices in the world, and different things happen. So if you do not have brand values, you will not have a code of conduct to live by. So as a person, as a personal brand, as a personal brand, I have values that I cannot compromise on. Number one, I cannot compromise on integrity. Number two, I cannot compromise on quality service. I would rather, for instance, refund a person's money than give them a service that is below par. If I feel like, oh, we're not delivering, or if somebody says, oh, we had a bad experience, or I'm not getting quality, I would honestly prefer to just do a refund, because it's something, quality is not something I want to compromise on. Do you understand? So you need values that you do not compromise on. Another of the values that I like to live by is I want to share something that actually matters, not something that just brings in the money. It's also a value. So whether for your business or for your personal brand, you need to have values that you will never compromise on. So these values will guide you as you try to achieve your vision and your mission. Because of course, you know by now that you need to have a vision and mission. You need to have a big picture for your brand. You need to have a big idea for your brand, or you need to have a futuristic idea for your brand and ways that you intend to achieve that futuristic idea for your brand. So the essence of brand values is that it allows you to know the kind of people that you need to work with. For instance, if I say that integrity is a brand value for my brand and I take it seriously, it means I am not going to be doing work with somebody who has been arrested by the EFCC for fraud. it's it defeats the idea of my brand value. It means that I'm not going to be working with somebody who has been called out on social media for duping multiple people, because it's a brand value that allows me to know who I should look out for. I know no, this is my brand value, and I cannot have this person on my team, because you're going to taint the kind of brand personality, brand persona that I am trying to build. So you need to have brand values. If you don't have brand values, it's so important to sit down and decide, okay, so for my brand, this is the kind of brand I'm building. I am a growth coach here. I'm a social media manager. I'm a I'm a lactation products provider. What exactly are the brand values that I want to guide me? What are the things that on a normal day, like if it happens, like I don't want to have a part in it, no matter whatever happens, I will never compromise on them. Those are your brand values. Let's move on to the next. What are our stakeholder parameters? Yes, so we have people that we want to bring on board or we want to work with, because of course we're talking about the people factor. There should be parameters that you have in your head or that you have on paper. You should most likely have on paper. And okay, I wanted to mention something I wanted to mention something, but I'm going to leave it for later in the course. But you should have stakeholder parameters. You should have parameters that guide you. Very similar to values, but more broken down towards the stakeholders. What are the things that we're going to be using to choose the people who work with us to achieve our brand vision and mission? So, number one, what kind of customers do we or do we not want? We talked about that our in the last lesson, and I got a response saying that about two responses saying that they had always thought about branding in terms of who they want to patronize them, but who they not want to patronize them. You so yeah, there are people you want to patronize you, and there are people you do not want to patronize you. I explained who those people have for me yesterday, and you know that by now. So what kind of customers do we or do we not want? What kind of clients do we or do we not want? What kind of employees or staff or volunteers do we or do we not want? If you might not have gotten to that point where you can get employees yet, you might have volunteers who do some work with you. What kind of people do you not want? For instance, you may decide, for some brands they may decide, we don't want people who do not have experience in these fields. We don't want people who do not have you know some of the big brands who tell you that they don't want people who did not finish the university with a 2-1. So that's a stakeholder parameter for their employees. They tell you if you did not finish with a 2-1, we're not going to get you in. Or if you don't finish with at least a 2-2, we're not going to get you in. Those are stakeholder parameters for those brands. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're right for everybody, but it's a stakeholder parameter for somebody, for some kinds of brands. For some brands as well, they can tell you if you didn't go to this school or this kind of schools, then we don't want you on board. This just reminds me of something that went viral on Twitter some days ago, a couple of weeks ago, if I am clear, about somebody saying that he preferred to have a set of people from a particular university in Nigeria come on board in this company, and then he got a lot of flame for it. But those could be their stakeholder parameters. They may say, oh, for our brand, these are the kinds of people that we want to work with us. We want this kind of people who have done so and so and so and so kinds of projects before. And when companies are seeking people to work with them, when they put out job descriptions, what they are trying to tell you is that these are the stakeholder parameters for this particular role. Is that clear? These are the stakeholder parameters for this particular role. These are the people we want for this role because we believe that these are the kinds of people who will help us to achieve our vision and our mission. Without this kind of people, we will not be able to achieve what we set out to achieve. So, what are the kinds of staff or volunteers or people? People, if you have contractors that we want or do not want. Right. So, what kinds of investors do we or do not want? If your business is looking to having investors, what kind of investors do we not want? There are some investors that can stress your life. There are some investors that will take more than they're giving you. There might be investors that are not providing adequate mentorship for you, which you need as an early stage business. What kind of investors do we not want? Because those are major stakeholders. What kind of partners do we not want? If you run a product business where you have to deliver, what kind of delivery companies do we not want to work with? I mean, if we don't want a delivery company who will deliver breakfast by dinner time. We don't want a delivery company that will eat our customers' food and tell us something happened on the way. We don't want a delivery company that will come up with excuses. We don't want a platform that would make it hard for our people to access our courses. We don't want people, you need to think about the kind of partners that you want or that you do not want. And we have already talked about partners in, I think, the two last slides. So the partners that you do not want, what are the parameters? These are the people that we want. These are the kinds of people that we do not want. It's going to help you in eliminating a bunch of people who will be coming to you, because he helps me a lot. He helps me to eliminate people a lot. If not, it's going to be so overwhelming having to deal with so many people on a daily basis. Right. So, what are our stakeholders? I've had people that, I just looked at it and I'm like, this person doesn't seem ready to learn, and this person will pose some trouble for the academy. So you know what? I don't think I want to work with this person. Let's refund their money. I've had cases like that. Let's just I don't want I don't want stress. I like my peace of mind. I know the kind of people I want to work with, and I know the kind of people I don't want to work with. So if the kind of people I want to work with come, partners, contractors, and whoever they may be, if the kind of people I don't want to work with come in, I know I'm going to say no, I don't want you on board. You're going to give me stress, and I love my peace of mind. You are not going to make me achieve my brand vision and mission. So please, let's revisit this in the future or never. So now let's move on to the next slide. So now, what matters to our existing and potential stakeholders? Yes. So this is the point where you try to get into your stakeholders' minds. Your major stakeholder, as somebody who wants to make money from your brand, are your target audience or your customers, your target market. So, what are these people looking for? You need to sit down and think about it. Do a target audience analysis. I thought about this yesterday. So you need to look at them in terms of geography. Who are the kinds of people we're looking to reach out to in terms of geography? Who are the kind of people we're looking to reach out to in terms of demography? Who are the kinds of people we're looking to attract in terms of psychography? What kind of customers do you want, and what matters to them? Because it's not exactly about what you want alone. It is also about what these people want. Because if you're not focusing on what these people want, they're not even going to be coming. You can't just keep saying, oh, these are the kinds of people I want, these are the kinds of people I don't want, or if they don't come, I don't want to have anything to do with them. No, what do they want? What are they looking out for? If my target customers are small businesses and personal brands, I need to understand what small businesses and personal brands want to learn to be able to scale their business. It's understanding who they are so that you can position yourself to getting them, to attracting them, and to keeping them. This is heavy in marketing. Heavy. You need to understand your target audience, and you also need to be specific. Very, very specific and realistic. You cannot attract all the people in the world, my dear. You cannot. So you need to be realistic about the people that you want to attract, the kind of people that you want to pay you. For instance, a part of one thing about thinking about your target customers are people that like your products or services, need your products or services, want your products or services, and are able to pay for your products or services. If they cannot pay for your products or services, then they are not your target customers. So you want to look at the ability, for the willingness and the ability to buy. In basic economics, we learned about demand, and from demand, you know that demand is not just people wanting to buy your product. It's not just people saying, "Oh, I like this product." It's not just people who like to buy the product or who like the product. It's people who are willing and are able to buy. The ability to buy is a significant part of defining who your target customers are. If not, you're not going to be in business for long. You're going to be out of money for a long time. So there has to be the willingness. People say, oh my God, I actually need this. I actually want this. And people also saying, hey, I can buy this and I'm going to buy this. So think about basic economics when you're thinking about defining your target customers. There has to be the willingness, there has to be the ability to buy, there has to be the purchasing power, they have to be able to give you the money that you are charging for your value, right? So I hope that's clear. I believe that's clear. Now, what do our partners seek? Whenever you're thinking about partnerships with organizations, with people, think about the different kinds of partnerships you may have, sponsorship partnerships, whatever it is. When you're reaching out to these people, you cannot reach out to them simply because of what you want to get from them. You also want to pay attention to the things that these people seek, the things that matter to them. If you're reaching a brand for sponsorship, what exactly matters to them? Why should these people give us their money? Why should they give us their all for free? Why should they give us their speakers for free? Why should they give us their best ends for free? There has to be something that these people are looking for. There has to be something that matters to them that you can only get by diligent research. So, what do our partners need? These people we want to work with us, what exactly is it that they need? What are they seeking? What matters to them? And how can we develop, or how can we deliver in our capacity to these people? Right? Because life is a give and take. arena. So you are giving and you are taking. And if you're not giving, it's going to be hard for you to last long if you're only taking. So if, for instance, you're trying to build your brand, not even for instance, but you're trying to build your brand, you're trying to build your personal brand or your business brand, the only way to get people is to give. So you have to be giving value in the forms that these people that you're trying to attract can understand. A quick digression. One challenge that many people have, business brands, personal brands, that they have is that they are trying to communicate value in such a way that the stakeholders, potential stakeholders, do not understand as value. So it's like, I'm giving value. You believe you're giving value, and you may be giving value, but value is not value unless the intended recipient can understand it as the value that they need. I'm going to take it again. Value is not value unless the intended recipient can interpret it as the value that they need. So it's not, oh, I'm giving value, I'm a valuable person, we are doing this, we are doing that. If the intended recipient of your value do not understand that as value, then you are doing something wrong. It's like communication. They tell you in communication that you're trying to communicate something, but communication is not complete unless the recipient of communication understands what you're communicating and gives you feedback about it. So the people need to understand. So one reason you may not be attracting as many people as you want, you may not be making as much money as you want. It may not necessarily could, but maybe that you are communicating value in what you understand, but in not how these people can interpret. So to these people, oh, she's just on Instagram, she's just posting regularly. She's not, but to you, you are posting deep stuff. You are posting things that are, that are deep to you. But to them, they just see you as another random Instagram sensation or Instagram wannabe, because you are not communicating value in a way that they can interpret. So if you are not attracting as many people or as much people as you want, it might be something to pay attention to. Maybe you're not communicating the value in a way that these people need, right? So there has to be a communication, an effective communication of value. If I'm communicating value to you, it has to be in terms of something that you understand, so that you can take the desired action that I want you to take. Look at us pushing the branding course, for instance. The reason you paid for this branding course is because we were able to communicate the value to you in such a way that you could respond. If I had, if we designed a flyer that you did not understand, or that you could not interpret very well as something that you needed, you won't be here. Do you understand? So you are here because there has been a communication from our own end, and there has been an effective and a corresponding interpretation of the value that we're delivering on your own end. And that's why we can come together. Right, so think about what these people want, and what do our partners seek, what matters to them, and you have to do deep research, diligent research, so that you can understand exactly what these people need, what matters to these people. There are some organizations that you can't even pay them money because they have enough money. Right? There are some organizations that are way bigger than you, that you can't say we'll give you brand awareness, or we'll put your logo on our banner so that you get. No, they already have customers. So you want to pay attention. What is it that matters to these people beyond, beyond us giving them the regular, saying we want to give you money, we want to give you, what is it that matters to these people? It could be money. For some people, they want money. So people want awareness. This, in terms of partners, if you're also hosting a sort of event as well, and you're looking to bring speakers, and then you're thinking that, okay, we don't have thousands or millions to give speakers. What is it that matters to these people that you're bringing as speakers that will make them come for free or come at your budget? This is also part of it. Right, this is part of it. So what do our employees and volunteers or contractors desire as well? All of these are super important. These contractors, do they want to come on board because they like your they can buy into your company goals or your big picture, your brand purpose? Are your employees looking for a place to scale their career or an opportunity to scale their career? Are your volunteers looking for opportunities to grow? What is it that they are looking at at, on their own end, right? So you need to consider what matters to your existing and your potential stakeholders if you are going to effectively attract them and achieve your brand vision, purpose, and mission. Well, that's going to be it for today. I hope that this was as clear as possible. You're going to be receiving your prompts, and then I am looking forward to you delivering your prompts as well. So till we meet in our next lesson, take care of yourself. Bye.